welcome back to part 4, episode 64 of Top Rope Reality here on the YouTube. I'm Mike Hogan.
And I'm Justin Kyle.
And let's get started with the list this week.
The list that don't miss, if you will.
Let's start off with the 10 greatest ever WWE heel stables. At number 5, the Ministry of Darkness, led by The Undertaker and Paul Bearer. Members: The Undertaker, Paul Bearer, Bradshaw, Farouk, Mideon, Viscera, Gangrel, Edge, and Christian. And they debuted in 1999. 99 was a big year for a lot of things this week on our show. How many times have we said 1999 this week?
Quite a bit. But not for SummerSlam.
Not yet.
Not yet. 2 more.
It's getting there, though.
It is getting there, ladies and gentlemen. It seems sort of quaint 15 years on. The Undertaker takes a gimmick a bit too seriously and starts a merry band of vampires and devil worshippers. But at the time, it was terrifying, pearl-clenching stuff. Right? Exactly.
That's pearl clenching, if you didn't know.
Exactly.
Here. Well, depending on how long they are. So.
The Ministry of Darkness was responsible for some of the more insane, twisted stunts that WWE pulled during the Monday Night Wars. Like when they tried to sacrifice Stephanie or force her into marriage
young Stephanie.
with The Undertaker before the boob job.
Stephanie.
Or when they sacrificed Stone Cold Steve Austin. Or, God rest this man's soul, or when they hung Big Boss Man. I guess the proper way to say it is when they hanged. It always sounds weird to me.
Hanged it? Yeah.
When they hanged Big Boss Man from the top of the cell at WrestleMania. Controversy alone, however, does not make a stable great. The Ministry was entertaining, but there was nothing deeper or relatable going on. It was just a massive freak show, and after a while, the shock value wore off. They eventually merged with the corporation, not the $1 million corporation that we've talked about before, but the corporation led by Vince McMahon, to form the corporate Ministry. And that was the beginning of the end. That stable broke up, and the Unholy Alliance broke up as well. Undertaker took close to a year off for a groin injury, and by the time he returned, all the supernatural theatrics were gone. Instead, we got a biker gimmick.
Oh, no.
And we all tolerated it until the real Undertaker returned at WrestleMania 20 to defeat Kane for the second time. That was the first person that he beat more than once.
Oh, yeah. It was always Kane.
Now we have the 100 wrestling pay-per-views you must see before you die. And before I get into that, did you know that Undertaker had handpicked Kane to beat the streak? But Kane refused, as he should have. We're going to talk about number 50, WCW. We're halfway through.
Halfway through?
Halfway through.
And I know you're happy that we're halfway through.
You better be happy.
That's why we're just giving you morsels. We're not giving you big chunks. We're giving you morsels. Little pieces that you
So
say.
then if you watch it all the way through, you have everything together. WCW Super Brawl 3. Key matches was Sting versus Vader in a strap match. Barry Windham taking on the Great Muta for the NWA World Heavyweight title. Not good ones, not key matches.
Number 49, Noah, Navigate for Evolution. March 1st, 2003. Key matches, Kenta Kobashi versus, oh, that's good.
Just say the last name.
I can't do that one either.
Masawa
then, for the GHC World title.
Yes.
Kenta.
You know who that is?
That's
Hideo Itami.
Hideo Itami. I'm just throwing these names. Marufuji versus Makoto Hashi and Yoshibu Kanemaru.
Yeah, that's the worst one there. Kanemaru, there you go. Number 48, TNA Bound for Glory, 2006. Key matches were the Latin American Exchange, LAX, versus AJ Styles and Christopher Daniels in a 6 sides of steel cage match for the tag titles. You had Chris Sabin versus Senshi, a.k.a. Loki, a.k.a. What was his name? WWE. What did I say?
WCW.
Woo, he wasn't even around yet.
I don't know what his name in WCW. You tell me.
Right, you tell me.
Kaval.
And that was for the TNA. What did I just say? NXT. Well, TNA. What's in my drink
Or
here?
NWA. He might have been going to NWA.
TNA X Division Championship.
We're not drunk, folks.
Not at all.
We're not pulling the Sandman.
I know. Then we have Sting versus Jeff Jarrett for the NWA World Heavyweight title. This before TNA went off on its own.
Yes. Those had pretty good matches there. Three
Pretty good ones.
tag team.
Stuff I would
all
watch.
title matches were key matches.
And they were stuff I would watch for sure.
Number 47 was WWF SummerSlam 2001.
Was it for WWF?
I know. Key matches: Kurt Angle versus Stone Cold Steve Austin for the WWF title. Yes.
Very good. Very good.
RVD versus Jeff Hardy in a ladder match for the Hardcore title, and The Rock versus Booker T.
Yeah.
Woo. Well, I ain't know that one. For the WCW title, folks.
For that one right there.
Now, can you dig that?
Sucker.
Sucker! I'm coming for you, Hulk Hogan.
Oh, slow down. Slow down.
And number 46.
Number 50, we started with WCW Super Brawl 3, and today we're going to end with number 46, WCW Super Brawl 2.
That's the first
So
time.
2 was better than 3.
I think that's the first time in all little 5 we had the same show
I believe so.
close to it in sequence.
Yes. Key matches was Sting, who was also in a key match at number 3, versus Lex Luger for the WCW title. You had Brian Pillman taking on Jushin Thunder Liger for the Cruiserweight title, and you had Barry Windham, who the next year was in the NWA title match. He teamed up with Dustin Rhodes, taking on Larry...
The Natural.
The Natural, exactly. Taking on Larry Sabisco.
The living legend.
And Steve Austin.
Stunning, Steve Austin.
Stunning, not Stone Cold.
Stunning.
So that's 50 to 46, and now we're going to talk about these 40 wrestlers ranked from worst to best.
And we're getting
to the best
We're getting to the best ones here.
19 to 17, ladies and gentlemen. We had number 19 is Luke Harper. Pros, he's surprisingly agile for a man of his stature.
Yeah.
He can work well in matches anywhere on the card.
Yeah.
Number 3, he doesn't need to say much to get a fan reaction.
This is true. All good pros for
All the pros. Cons, he got lost in the shuffle after splitting from the Wyatt family without any storyline justification. Same thing with the other one.
Yep.
Number 2, his matches are thrown together at random, and they somehow expect him to get over that way.
I know.
Number 3, looks more like a psychopath hobo. Psychopathic hobo you'd find at a truck stop than a wrestler.
He does.
He does.
Number 18, King Barrett. I'm sorry, King Barrett. That's
Should be bad news
pros.
still.
Big, tall, and muscular. He is.
That's true.
Has a great bad news gimmick, which he does need to come back to bad news.
He
gimmick.
does.
He has legitimacy. That's a good one. Has
He's
a bare,
legit.
legit bare knuckle fighter, which would ideally make him more of a credible threat.
They tried to do that with the whole bare knuckle thing. It went nowhere.
He's from the bullhammer now.
Exactly.
The cons: injuries have derailed his push.
And,
We're waiting for another one to come up. The Wasteland is one of the least effective-looking finishers in WWE.
Mm-hmm.
And he's 37 and
Woo!
still a mid-carder.
You know, he's that old.
That does not help at all.
Not at all, ladies and gentlemen. Number 17, we're going to go with a female here who's not really a wrestler. We're going to go with Stephanie McMahon. Pros, she's an absolute heat magnet. Number 2, she can easily control the crowd reactions with everything she says and does.
That's true.
And number 3, she has a natural ring presence.
All good pros for Stephanie.
All good pros. And then the cons. Number 1, she emasculates other heel wrestlers whom she's supposed to be building up. She does do that. Number 2, unlike her father, her character never gets the comeuppance she deserves, because you can't really beat up on a woman.
But sometimes she does when
Brie.
no, not Brie.
No,
when
no.
when Vicky threw her in the mud or in the pudding or whatever it was, she kind of got a up in there.
That's true. And then when Brie beat her up and stuff like that, slapped her across the face.
And she got arrested. So, she's kind of. You're right. You can't beat her up, but she is getting her a little.
Well,
bit
The Rock couldn't do nothing to her at WrestleMania,
Right.
but that's why Ronda Rousey was there.
And number 3.
Number 3 appears as a heel on the show, but is also put into special videos where you're meant to cheer for her.
That's true.
That's the hard part about wrestling nowadays, is because we're so politically correct. There has to be all these videos of her being at the Be Star rallies and meeting the handicapped people and being at the Special Olympics and all that, which is all well and good.
Yes.
And I'm glad that he does that stuff, but it does make it difficult when you push that stuff on your show and then she comes out the very next segment, she's supposed to boo her.
Right.
It's like, oh, she's
That's
supposed
why
to be.
you need to have a GM or somebody to be the major face or
Yep.
heel of the company,
Yep.
but you can boo or whatever. It doesn't matter what they do backstage because we don't know.
Very true. But now we've come to the moment.
We've come to the moment, folks. So we started off with 30. Yep, 30.
On those 4 brackets.
32 tag teams in the Teddy Long Tag
Yes,
Team
you
Tournament.
had your referee bracket, you had your manager bracket, you had your GM bracket, and you had your holla player bracket.
Yes.
And now we've come down to the final 2.
Out of all those teams, we have 2 standing.
Your number 1 seed and a number 3 seed.
We have the Road Warriors, Hawk and Animal, and they will battle.
The Steiner brothers, Rick and Scott Steiner.
Now, before we start talking about all the facts and figures here and start discussing this match, let's take a special look at the Steiner brothers and the Legion of Doom. Enjoy. I hope everybody enjoyed that special look at the Road Warriors and the Steiner Brothers. It was a very good video. And it shows a lot of, of those two teams coming together. Looking over the tournament, those are the two that should be in the finals.
Absolutely.
Yes.
We did great.
We did great picking
the final two. So, little known fact here, Rick Steiner and Road Warrior Animal teamed together at TNA Slammiversary 2007.
Also, Road Warrior Animal and Scott Steiner teamed together at WCW Thunder in 2001. How is that one guy from the Road Warriors has teamed with both Steiner brothers? It's amazing.
Very interesting. And then their win-loss record against each other.
Yes.
You have, it's very interesting. You have Animal and Hawk and Power Warrior, who is apparently a Japanese wrestler. They defeated in a 6-man tag Rick Steiner, Scott Steiner, and Scott Norton. And then you had Rick Steiner and Scott Steiner defeat the Road Warriors, and they defeated Knobs and Sands in a triple threat. So at this point, you had the Road Warriors win, you had the Steiner brothers win. Then
when you have head-to-head here with nobody extra,
no extras,
you have the Road Warriors defeat the Steiner brothers.
There you go. So now they're 2 against 1 here. And then you had Rick and Scott Steiner defeating the Road Warriors. So now it's even 2-2 out of all the matches
of their whole career. This is the only matches they've ever been in.
They've only ever had. That's crazy.
It is crazy.
And who did they beat in this tournament to get where they're at? The Road Warriors beat Red Dragon, the world's greatest tag team, Bad Influence, and the Dudleys.
And the Steiner brothers, they went through The Miz and Morrison, London and Kendrick, the British Bulldogs, and Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard.
Titles they held. The Road Warriors held the NWA International Tag Team titles 1 time, the AWA World Tag Team Championships 1 time, the NWA National Tag Team Championships 4 times, the NWA World Tag Team Championship, the Mid-Atlantic version 1 time, the WWF Tag Team Championship twice, and the WWE Tag Team Championship once. Now it doesn't include Japan.
No.
And it doesn't, NWA is kind of WCW.
Yes.
I don't remember after it was called WCW, I can't remember if they won anything or not.
If it ain't on here, they did.
There you go. Yeah. But yeah, it doesn't have Japanese stuff.
The Steiner brothers, they held the NWA WCW United States Tag Team Championships once, the NWA Mid-Atlantic / WCW World Tag Team Championship 7 times, the IWGP Tag Team Championships twice, and the WWF Tag Team Championships twice.
Well, if that's the case, it says Mid-Atlantic / WCW Tag Team titles, then that means that the NWA World Tag Team titles Mid-Atlantic version is also the WCW.
Yes.
So they won that 1 time, so that equals out to that. So pretty doggone equal when it comes to across the board.
Yes.
You know, everywhere Road Warriors went, they won belts. Everywhere Scott Steiner and Rick Steiner went, they won the belts. So pretty doggone even. And the thing we have here is we're not going to tell you who the winners are this week. No. Instead, we're going to let you simmer on the video and simmer on the facts here about the 2 different teams. Who do you think should be the winner of the T-Long Tag Team Tournament?
We're going to take these facts.
And we're going to mull it over.
We're going to mull it over. We're going to write it down. We're going to stick it in our top row reality computer. It's going to run some numbers. It's going to click this, click that. It's going to do this. It's going to do that. We're going to push some buttons. It's going to give us out the winner of who it should be. And next week, right here in part 4 on the list, we will give you the first top row reality Teddy Long Tag Team Tournament champion. Will it be Hawk and Animal, the Road Warriors, or will it be Rick and Scott, the Steiner brothers?
Yes, that is going to be huge. That'll be the final part in part 4, so you don't want to miss it, ladies and gentlemen. Next week we will continue on talking about the 10 greatest ever WWE Heel stables. Number 4, very appropriate because I didn't even know.
That's very funny.
I had no idea. Number 4, Evolution. It was best when it also included Flair.
Oh, yes.
5 more of the 100 wrestling pay-per-views you must see before you croak.
With key matches.
With their key matches. And bringing it back.
The Hall of Fame returns, baby.
Hall of Fame should be, might be, and then not at all. You know better than Coco Beware, you're not going anywhere.
Yes.
Plus news, Countdown SummerSlam 1998 with Stone Cold Steve Austin versus The Undertaker for the main event with the WWF Championship on the line.
It was the highway to hell.
Plus, so much more, like we said, Teddy Long Tag Team Tournament. You don't want to miss that.
Who will be the champion? And will you agree with Top Rope Reality?
You may not, and that's okay. We all have our opinions.
Yes.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be it for episode 64. Next week is huge. We got a lot of stuff going on for episode 65.
And we are working to get your favorite Jeb Savage back here to answer some questions from you fans.
Fan questions, so send them in. Message us on Facebook so we can tell him what's going on. And then we also have, there's fans out there that somehow know how to mail him letters.
This is true.
He loves snail mail, ladies and gentlemen, so don't forget
Well,
that.
he can sit on his porch, play his guitar, and wait for the mailman to show up with snail mail.
Snail mail, that's right.
But I want to thank each and every one of you for watching this week's episode. And come on back next week as we are on 65, as we are heading on this train to 100.
100 will be huge, ladies and gentlemen.
It will be huge.
But on the way to the huge 100,
we may have to go on location somewhere for 100.
We may have to. But on the way to huge 100, that's the name for it. Huge 100. We got a lot of big stuff going on.
Oh yes.
All the way. So jump on the train with the rest of us. Choo choo. As we get all the way down.
The TRR train.
That's right.
Is chugging on down this track.
All the way to huge 100, ladies and gentlemen. So don't forget to come back next week for 65 and find out who Teddy Long's Tag Team Tournament winner is.
As always, I'm A. Hogan.
And I'm Justin Carter.
And we'll see you next week right here for episode 65 of Top Rope Reality on the YouTube.